Everything is spinning. Our planet on its axis, our planet among others in our solar system rotating around the sun, the moon with its spinnings and rotation, weather events and patterns, the life cycles for all living things. It's all cyclical. I think about weather patterns and the seasons and the moon around this earth and the earth around the sun. I think about how my mother was a 20-something once and then gave birth to me. And I think about how I gave birth to my daughter 20-something years later. It's all wild to think about. These stages of development, these signs of the passing and repeating of time are everywhere. We mark progress, or at least time, by these spinnings and rotations. In my head, I feel like I'm spinning. I'm a stay-at-home mom who teaches part-time. That's like 3 or 4 jobs right there. Managing the home, taking care of Amina, and teaching. Not to mention being there for my husband. I'm also married, and I have a cat, and my husband has a dog. I have 3 younger sisters who I'm very close to, and our lives are very much intertwined. And of course, there are my parents whom I love, and my husband's parents and siblings whom I love. And moving outwards, I have friends and extended family who I care about too and like to spend time with. And I'm trying to find and make friends with young moms with kids. And these are just my relationships. I'm sure your relationships are just as intricate and just as deeply embedded. And then we have things I like to do. I love reading. I've always wanted to be a writer. I'm a very amateur photographer. I'm an artist. I love to paint and create postcards and greeting cards for my photos. I'm learning to embroider. I'm a runner who hasn't run in a while. And I'm a student. I'm learning Arabic. This is starting to be a lot. I love all of these things, but it can be overwhelming. There are only 24 hours in a day, only 7 days in a week, only 52 weeks in a year, and I don't know how many years there are in my life. The days are long, but the years are short. And sometimes an entire day goes by and I collapse into bed and wonder what I even did all day. A lot of things, a few very important things, definitely not everything I wanted to do, and yet the day is done. Time moves on. Everything is spinning. And while I was reflecting on this spinning, I started to think about this concept from an Islamic perspective. In another life, I'm an architect. The built environment is fascinating to me. There's a lot of geometry involved in Islamic architecture. The most common design, the most recognizable design for a mosque is a boxy base with some sort of dome at the top. The square base represents the earth and our worldly existence. The dome or the circle on top represents the heavens and our everlasting existence and our ascension to the everlasting existence. Taken together, the mosque is the place where we meet in the world as we prepare for our lives after this world. And this fits with my spinning concept since circles and spinning are related. But then I thought about the Kaaba, the first mosque on earth built by the prophets Abraham and his son Ishmael in the little valley of Bakka or Mecca in Saudi Arabia. And before this, built by Adam. May peace and blessings be upon them all. This building that represents the house of God on earth is a square but does not have a dome. So where's the spinning? Let's zoom out a little bit. When Muslims visit the Kaaba, they perform a rite called TAWAW, which is a walking around the Kaaba for a certain number of times. All day, every day, except for when there's a congregational prayer, people walk around the Kaaba. A circling around a fixed point. In this case, that fixed point is the symbolic house of God on earth and is the direction Muslims around the world face when they pray. This is the spinning. And at the center, at the Kaaba, the building itself, we have stillness, almost as if it is through the spinning that we achieve stillness in the presence of the divine. This thought of spinning having a purpose in terms of bringing us closer to God made me think of the Sufi mystics, specifically the whirling dervishes. I am not a Sufi, but I have deep respect and admiration for them. They are Muslim, but their love of God is just so much pure and integral than anything I have experienced. One of the most well-known Sufi teachers, a saint named Rabia, wrote a prayer to God that if she worships him in fear of hell, to burn her in hell, and if she worships him in hope of paradise, to exclude her from paradise, but if she worships him for his own sake, to grant her his everlasting beauty. Just incredible, inspiringly beautiful and sincere. There's a Sufi practice called Sama, which is a devotional whole-body remembrance of God. Basically, the Samazen, or dervish, spins for a duration of time while invocating God. and to achieve an altered state of consciousness in which they meet God. And while their whirling is beautiful, watching their faces is even more so. They look so at peace, as if they are in the presence of He whom they are remembering. And I know for a fact, now, after this experience, that part of them that is otherworldly, their spirit, is still while their physical form spins. I'm reminded of a verse in the Quran where God says, "Surely in the remembrance of God do hearts find rest." When it comes to mindfulness, it is helpful for me to think about what I'm being mindful of. The opposite of mindfulness is mindlessness, and in religious terminology, we can call that heedlessness. If I'm able to accept where God has placed me in each moment He gives me, I can practice gratitude for that moment, for that dog I'm not fond of, for that husband who brought home a puppy when we brought home a baby, for the chance to change my baby girl's stinky diaper, for the gift of being alive. God tells us that when we are grateful to Him, He gives us more. And that giving of more might actually just be a better awareness of all that we have to be grateful for. The question is, what am I spinning for? The whirling dervishes don't get dizzy in the presence of God. There are definitely gods I am spinning for that don't need my devotion and are giving me vertigo. Technology, anxiety about life's uncontrollables, my focus on the things I quote-unquote should be doing that I'm not doing, the list goes on. My big purpose for this experience was to figure out who I am. I've accomplished that. I'm a lot clearer on my intentions for what I do, and I have a better understanding of my role in my life and in the lives of my family and loved ones. I didn't really need to change anything in terms of adding something or removing something from my life. I just really needed a shift in perception. Integrity is not an immovable object like I originally thought. Integrity is a system of parts in motion. If God intended for me to be motionless, He would have created me as an angel or some other creation without free will. I have the ability to choose how I live my life and what I do with the time He has given me. The choosing happens an infinite number of times until there is no more time. If there is a worthy purpose to my spinning, I will see clearly. This might be an unsatisfying conclusion to this experience, but I don't think it's necessary for me to share who I am. I honestly don't fully know, and I'm so okay with that. I don't think anyone fully knows. I think it's more of an awareness and a comfort thing. I know that I'm much more aware of my identity than I was at the start of this experience, and I'm comfortable with where I am now. I feel so much more at ease than I did at the beginning, and my confidence is starting to return. I think the parts are moving smoothly. I think I'm doing just fine. I'm right where I need to be. So am I still spinning? Yes. Aren't we all? But I see the purpose of it now. And even though things seem out of control sometimes, I have better awareness that there is someone in charge and that the chaos is divinely ordained. And that is better than anything I can do on my own. Thank you.